Good evening, brothers and sisters. Brother Hayward, that was an excellent introduction. Please continue participating in trade union events. The movement needs you. Brothers and sisters, I want to start off by first thanking Brother Chris and his team for inviting me to speak tonight. I'm both elated and grateful for this opportunity. It is truly an honor and a pleasure. And I don't take my responsibility here tonight lightly. I also want to commend the BIU for their years of service and contribution to this country. I have great admiration for the BIU as an organization and equally for the members of the BIU. Those have come before me and those who are here working with me now. So for that, we applaud you. This year's Labor Day theme, leading by example. The theme is extremely powerful. It causes us to take a critical look at ourselves as leaders to measure whether we are living up to the expectations of others, in addition to measure whether we are living up to the expectations and the standards that we set for ourselves as leaders. It is also fitting, based on the events that transpired in January 26th, 7th, and 8th, where we saw a group of workers lead by example. These public service workers braved the cold. They resisted threats from their employer to stand up for what they believed in. For those public service that took part in that event, your historic triumph will be remembered for years. I also want to thank the workers of Banquet who joined in with us, and the other members of public who came to support us in our time of need. During the dispute and after the dispute, I received many compliments, thank you, and well wishes from the public. Bermuda, your words truly mean a lot to me, and I thank you for the encouragement. Those small words keep me continuing doing what I love to do, and that is serve the people of Bermuda. However, while there's a group of people who love and admire me, there's equally a group of individuals who detest what I represent and want to see me silenced. Brothers and sisters, don't be alarmed. They can neither break me nor silence me. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life. Whom shall I be afraid? So this recent conquest by the government where they have taken the unions to court, and myself, brothers and sisters, don't be alarmed. This too shall pass. I'm more concerned with the social and economic condition of the people of this country than these court disputes. What the government is attempting to do to the unions and myself is wrong. But the unions are here to stay. United we stand, divided we fall, and we shall move onward and upward together. Many have coined this recent dispute as a David and Goliath type of battle. See, I'm not sure if people know the full story of David and Goliath. It doesn't end with David slinging a stone and killing Goliath. David then takes Goliath's sword, chops off his head, and delivers it to where it's got to go. David then goes on to become a king. Minister Bob Richards. Let's cut the foolishness. What we're doing is wasting time and money. You don't like something that I said, so you want to take me to court. Grow up and man up. See, Minister Richards, you remind me of that bully on the playground that ends up picking on the wrong person and goes home with his front teeth in his back pocket. Brothers and sisters, I'll pick up where Dr. Brown left off last year. Dr. Brown called for functional unity, an all-out campaign by the opposition, the union, the People's Campaign, and other community organizations to unite and reclaim the government. The alliance never happened, and the government is the only group that calls us the combined opposition. The functional unity that Dr. Brown called for did not occur, maybe because the vision was too shallow. See, functional unity must transcend political power. It needs to include organizations working together to uplift the social and economic conditions of all in the country. See, while we can have a change in political power, it does not necessarily translate into a change in a system that is structurally flawed. A system that causes social and economic inequalities. And while change in political power may be a critical component, it also can provide persons with a full set of hope and a dependency on the government. See, our political system is structured in a way that creates a constant battle between the two parties. One does all that it can to remain in power, while the other does all it can to regain power. At times, this power struggle continues at the detriment of our people. But this government will have its judgment day. The people of Bermuda put governments in power. We allow them to become relevant. And if they don't do for the people, by the people, we will make them irrelevant. Bottom line. Brothers and sisters, we need functional unity towards a greater vision. A vision that surpasses party politics. A vision that truly seeks to improve the social and economic conditions for those on the bottom half of society. A vision that truly aims for a better Bermuda. Many may or may not know that the Golden State Warriors are the NBA champs. Some persons may not even know who the Golden State Warriors are. But how does a team like the Golden State Warriors win an NBA championship? Maybe it's based on how the league is structured. You see, the league is structured in a way that allows the weaker teams, or the teams that finish on the bottom of the league, to acquire first-round draft picks, or pick high up in the draft. And they utilize those picks to get new superstars or trade for existing superstars. The NBA realizes that the league is stronger when they allow the weaker teams to strengthen themselves. This is in contrast to the English Premier League, where the teams with the most money always finish on top, and the teams with the least money continuously get relegated. There is another distinction between the two leagues. The NBA prides itself with homegrown superstars, while the EPL imports its best players. See, these examples symbolize two realities of society. One where persons at the bottom have an opportunity to achieve greater, and one where there is no hope at the bottom. Brothers and sisters, I ask you, which Bermuda do you want? Surely it's the Bermuda where the bottom tier of society will be afforded the opportunity to progress. While easier said than done, this should be the vision. Bermudians should never feel as though they are in a constant state of hopelessness. For those members of society who are in a comfortable position, they should never feel like the plight of others is not their problem. See, the vision we set for ourselves should include the expectations of the people. On May 1st, 2014, over 3,000 people marched under the umbrella of the People's Campaign and presented the government with a manifesto based on principles of equality, jobs, and justice. We often hear persons in the community saying, the People's Campaign don't represent me. And that's perfectly all right. But let me tell you who we do represent. We represent the people who have attended People's Campaign meetings and poured out their pain, frustration, and anguish. The people who stood in front of hundreds, weeping as they shared their situations in meetings. The people who expressed hopelessness in a country filled with so much promise. Young people who expressed feelings of displacement and abandonment due to living in a country where access to opportunity is limited. The people whose hopes have been shattered because they cannot find employment, which pays a livable wage for them to provide for their family. The people who feel disconnected from their birthplace. That's who the People's Campaign represents. I don't really normally feed into the blogs, but there's always a blogger who he gets off with saying, the People's Campaign don't represent me, and then he sits back and watches and counts his likes. Brother Chris, we marched, we looked back, and we saw 3,000 people. What the hell is 50 likes? Brothers and sisters, the 12 points in the manifesto was relevant then as they are now. We must embrace that all people are equal and entitled to equal treatment. Every Bermudian should have the opportunity for post-secondary education, should not be prevented from attaining education due to lack of funding. The government must implement an equitable taxation system. Quality health care must be accessible and affordable to all. All Bermudians deserve equal treatment under the law. Brothers and sisters, every person should be entitled to a livable wage. Full employment must become a national priority. The government must hold all employers accountable so that workers will be respected and afforded the same standards and working conditions. All workers must have the right to join unions or associations to defend their rights. Brothers and sisters, the government must implement a program specifically designed to provide true economic opportunities for persons who have been historically displaced. The government must establish regulatory constraints over the market to ensure that the business community shares in the sacrifices. Equal rights must be the same for all citizens in Bermuda. As such, age cannot be a barrier for access to services, capital, or employment. The government does not own property, but holds it in trust on behalf of the people, and therefore should exercise proper stewardship that protects the access of the people against privatization. The people of Bermuda are entitled to expect that those who are entrusted to lead them are guided by the will of the people. Brothers and sisters, more specifically, the vision must include getting Bermudians back to work. How is it possible that we have more jobs in the country than Bermudians in the labor force, and our people still can't find employment? Something is wrong with that picture. we are producing Bermudians that don't have the skill sets for the job market, or employers are discriminating against our people. Either way, these problems need to be fixed. We need to educate our way out of this job crisis. See, what we have is called structural unemployment. Structural unemployment is unemployment due to a mixed match in the skill sets demanded from the labor market and the skill sets employees possess. See, this form of unemployment cannot easily be overcome. However, through education, training, and creating access to jobs, we can solve our unemployment issues. We as a country must commit to investing in the education and job training of our citizens. This investment will undoubtedly benefit individuals and Bermuda at large. I'm calling on the government to commit to adequate funding for post-secondary education and to correct the current problems with our education system, namely problems associated with administration, finance, curriculum, and quality of delivery. On-the-job training must also be embraced. While formal education may provide background skills that enhance learning, much of specific skills related to actual productivity are acquired on the shop floor. Businesses must commit to apprenticeship programs, professional development, and workplace shadowing. This would enable Bermudians to acquire skill sets that are not gained through formal education. These on-the-job training programs have become a standard in many developed countries. Initially, I was pleased to see the development of a national training plan. But my pleasure quickly became disappointment when there was no implementation strategy attached to the plan. Brothers and sisters, a vision without action is merely a dream. We have no time for daydreaming. OBA, you promised the jobs. Now it's time for you to deliver. You tell us the economy is improving. Kudos to you. Now get our people back to work. We are tired of broken promises. Minister Faye, Senator Faye, you can boldly say in the paper that you will fulfill your obligation and create the 2,000 jobs. Talk is cheap. Put up or shut up. The government must also commit to reducing barriers that exist for individual success in jobs. I'm calling on the government to address the reported discriminatory practices by employers against Bermudians. See, far too long, employers have been able to get away with setting rigorous qualifications and tests, primarily to discourage Bermudians. Some employers show a complete bias towards guest workers over Bermudians. This biasness needs to stop. What type of message are we sending our students when they go away, get an education, come back home, and all they find is shut doors? Brothers and sisters, something is fundamentally wrong with what's happening in our country. You see, I realize the critical need for guest workers in society. But our expatriate brothers and sisters should not be displacing qualified and able Bermudians. Their services should only be utilized when there is a job demand that cannot be filled by qualified Bermudians. Our people are getting tired. Our people are getting frustrated. We can't continue down this road. The government needs to start listening. Brothers and sisters, we need a vision that forces structural changes that seeks to reduce income inequality in Bermuda. We should not settle for the notion that the rich will continuously get rich while the poor remain poor. See, we can have an efficient economy where the rich remain rich while helping to uplift the poor.
Yes, sir.
It is evident that there are two Bermudas. We are divided racially. There is a black Bermuda and there is a white Bermuda. It would be nice if we can all work together to achieve betterment for all in society. But history shows us that that dream is far-fetched. We should be all concerned that black unemployment is substantially higher than white unemployment. The median income for whites in Bermuda is substantially higher than the median income for blacks. Blacks comprise the vast majority of those on financial assistance. Blacks are the majority of persons in jails. Blacks are losing our homes to the banks. Blacks, we are losing our men to the streets. Blacks are struggling to survive upon retirement. Blacks are the poor and working class of this country. It's nothing to smile about. See, it's a flawed way of thinking to believe that the social ills and the economic deterioration of the black community is not a problem for all. But it is equally flawed for the black community to continuously rely on others to elevate us from our current position. These are our problems, and we must take the bull by the horn to collectively address them as a community. The days of dependency must stop. No longer can we continue down our current trajectory. We must take active steps to better ourselves. First, we need to take accountability for our own actions, realizing the factors that have contributed to our current state. Brothers and sisters, it's simple. We either want better for ourselves or we don't. If we do want better, we must take active steps to achieve our desired outcomes. We need to take active steps to support our union, support and revitalize our community clubs, develop our own financial institutions, develop and support black businesses, invest in cooperatives, Invest in the education of our children and our people. Strengthen our families. Revitalize our spirituality. And stop being our own worst enemy. Let me repeat that. Stop being our own worst enemy. See, Mark Being spoke about this. Do for self. At first I took offense to it, because I thought, coming from somebody in a position of government, government always has an obligation to help the citizens of the country. But when you think about it, it's absolutely correct. We must start to do for self. And we need to do it sooner rather than later. You see, the white community in Bermuda have exhibited functional unity for centuries. And as a result, they have the economic power. They have the country's political power. They earn their own businesses. The kids go to first-class institutions. And they handle their affairs a lot better than we handle ours. We have to take note of what is done in the white community, and we need to empower ourselves. We have the capacity to do better, and we must do better. We shouldn't settle for nothing less. And while I realize we are entering this race at different locations, and we realize the reason why we're in this race at different locations. But this race is not for us to finish. It's for the generations that come behind us to finish. Our role today is simply to close that gap. That's what should be outlined in the vision. That's what we should use functional unity to work towards. Many are looking for strong leaders to step up in our community. Brothers and sisters, today's leaders must be grounded spiritually. See, being grounded spiritually allows you to operate with a sense of purpose. It also allows you to operate based on the value of love, whereby you have genuine care, concern, and appreciation for yourself and others. Today's leaders must be courageous, be willing to take risks to achieve goals, be prepared to fight the battles on behalf of the people, be the voice of the voiceless, and be advocates for justice, regardless of whatever the consequences may be. Today's leaders must have foresight, the ability to create and understand a vision and chart a course, identifying where we need to go and how we're going to get there. Today's leaders must have integrity, possess a deep commitment to do the right thing for the right reasons, regardless of the circumstances. Today's leaders must be committed to strive for excellence. Our leaders not only have to maintain high standards, but also be proactive in raising the bar in order to achieve excellence in all areas. Brother Collins said it. If there are persons who possess the ability and willingness to lead, they should make it their priority to do so. This country needs strong and vibrant new leaders. We need strong and vibrant new leaders in our government, in our religious institutions, in our community clubs, in our business community, and most importantly, in our families. See, we should not just sit back and be satisfied with mediocre leadership. We must demand that our leaders operate at a standard of excellence. I came across an article in Forbes magazine. It was titled 15 Ways to Identify Bad Leaders. The first line in the article read, "It's important to realize that just because someone holds a position of leadership doesn't necessarily mean they should." Just because persons have a title doesn't make them a leader. 3 of those identifiers out of the 15 that resonated with me: when leaders fail to lead themselves. A leader who lacks character or integrity will not endure the test of time. Put up or shut up. Nobody is perfect, but leaders who constantly fail are not leaders, no matter how much they try. Beware of the know-it-all. The best leaders know exactly how much they know and how much they don't know. There is no need to always be the smartest person in the room. You must have a desire to learn from others around you. Brothers and sisters, we must not be fooled or deceived by those who pose as leaders, but clearly do not have the people's best interests at heart. Many share a view that because people are successful in business, that they're qualified to run this country. Even that's the standard in which persons' comments are judged. David Brett says one thing, Kowalski says the same thing. One is received better. I speak about taxation, I get one response. Chalmers or Sharman, he speaks on taxation, gets another. Drew Barrett writes an article very similar to mine, and is providing the country with insight. Brothers and sisters, qualifications, your success in business don't equate or qualify you to lead this country. What you need over anything else is a love for the people. Many in this country are dissatisfied with the country's current leadership. A real dissatisfaction. It seems as though they are not empathetic to the needs of the people. I am personally dissatisfied with the leadership of this country. You see, the OBA, they rule with an iron fist, with no regard for the people of this country. See, the business-driven agenda is distracting them from their principal purpose, which is to serve the people. So, over the months, we've heard the cries from public sector workers, cries from public sector workers, cries from employees and employers, cries from the opposition, cries from the unemployed, cries from our seniors, even cries from their urn. Why is the whole country crying? And OBA, you are not listening. See, the leadership in this country has been no friend to labor. Their attacks on trade unions and the trade union leadership are unprecedented. But it seems to go unchecked. It seems as though the premier of the country is not the captain of his ship. It seems as though the premier of this country is not the captain of his ship. Why do I say that? Somebody tell me when was the last time the premier stood up and spoke up on an important issue in this country. How is that possible? Photo ops are not cutting it. So we have an airport redevelopment. Anybody can have an opinion on whether they're for or against the development. But here's what we have. You have the People's Campaign that highlighted numerous irregularities with the contracting of this project. We have an independent poll done that says 70+% of the people in this country don't support the privatization. An independent Deloitte report identifies numerous gaps. A letter comes from the UK and says, we're not granting you position unless you begin to close some of these gaps. People do a critical analysis of the project. They are then termed number bombers. You admit to the people of Bermuda that you fuzzy information. And then when asked the most important question, what were the airport costs? You have a nerve to tell the people of this country, I don't know. And we as citizens should not be concerned with the leadership of this country. Brothers and sisters, we have identified what's required in a vision. We've talked about the qualities of a strong leader. And there are people who are prepared to stand up and lead. But a shepherd cannot lead sheep that are asleep. It seems like many in Bermuda are walking zombies. They have their eyes wide open, but their minds are closed. How is it that we as a people preoccupy ourselves with so many things that don't matter? However, we have marginal or limited concerns with things that would affect us and the generations that come after us. I don't know where my blood comes from, because I don't know what's in me or what's in some other leaders that make us a little bit different. We're prepared to do what it takes for the betterment of this country. How is it that we as a people are so tolerant of things that that others won't tolerate in other countries? Have we been broken? Is it that Bermuda we are such a spoiled people? You hear it on the radio every day. I'm prepared to do this, I'm prepared to do that. It's talk. We should do this, we should do that. More talk. You go to any social function, the issues of the day are not being discussed. The media is allowed to lie to us, manipulate stories, and we feed into them. So, one international business acquires the NACs. The headline reads, A international business retains half of the staff in B international business. Head Island Construction acquired D&J, let's say, and then let half of the staff at D&J go. Would the headline read, Zen retains half of D&J staff, or Zen lets go 50 people? See, our media is playing games with our mind. How is it possible that I send an article to the World Gazette? It takes 2 weeks to get in the paper, but Bob Stewart can reply and be featured the day after next. When we lose our media outlets to the government, we as a people are in trouble, and that has already happened. Brothers and sisters, I penned an article after Emancipation Day to provoke some thought in the community. The article was titled, What If? I sent it to a media outlet, and for some reason, they never published it. So I'll share it with you tonight. Brothers and sisters, what if integration in Bermuda is a myth and segregation is intentionally subliminal and designed so that the white community continues to thrive at the expense of the black community, who is stricken with social ills and economic deterioration? What if the black community empowered themselves, both socially and economically, by working together as a community to achieve true liberation? What if the public education system is designed specifically to channel our kids towards becoming employees rather than entrepreneurs, business owners, and leaders in this community? What if the removal of technical education was deliberately done to marginalize our males, ultimately leading them to unemployment and gang activity. What if the entire community, young and old, black and white, began to exercise their civic responsibility, raising their level of consciousness, becoming less tolerant of political decisions and conduct that seem undemocratic and have negative impacts on our individual and collective well-beings? What if we as a country suddenly woke up and realized that party politics is not in our best interest and does nothing but further polarize the people, leading to bad policies and bully governments? What if the people of Bermuda began to vote not for party, but for the candidate, whether independent or not, with the best qualities, abilities, and characteristics to lead this country? Brothers and sisters, what if prominent members of society are receiving economic benefit from gang activity and the distribution of drugs, using our young men as casualties in the quest for increased wealth? What if the erosion of moral values within our youth is a direct result of the deterioration of the family structure in Bermuda, and we realize that generations that have come before are actually failing today's youth and not our youth failing us? What if the Bermuda people collectively tapped into their innovative qualities and developed a second pillar of our economy, which would allow us to be less reliant on international business? What if these considerations are not real or realized? What if they are? Brothers and sisters, I ask you, what are you prepared to do? We must continue to fight for what we believe in. We must continue to advocate for equality, jobs, and justice. We must continue to be a voice for persons who are not prepared to speak for themselves. We must continue to protest when needed. We must support freedom of speech. We must support freedom of assembly. We must work together to achieve a better Bermuda, and we must do it unapologetically. Brothers and sisters, the call will come, and when it does, I need you to wake up, rise up, and lead by example. Thank you.